When Netflix released the Toys That Made Us He-Man episode, as well as Masters of the Universe Revelations by Kevin Smith, those were both very nostalgic moments for me. I got super excited and really wanted to show my kids the toys that I grew up with. Unfortunately, the weakest link in these incredibly well-made toys was the rubber piece that holds the legs together. And that's where my Masters of the Universe journey to repair the legs begins. Growing up as a kid, I had over 50 Masters of the Universe toys, as well as many of the vehicles, Snake Mountain, and a bunch of other accessories. My dad actually made a custom cabinet to store all these characters, and it even had an amazing open-up top for epic gameplay. Unfortunately, as a kid, when we immigrated from South Africa to England, I had to give away my entire Masters of the Universe collection. Luckily, my sister squirreled away a bunch of the characters, put them in the container, and they were actually shipped to England with us. I didn't know that until about 30 years later. She recently just gave a bunch of them to my kids. Around the same time, I had gone on eBay and bought my kids some of these characters. I bought a Spikor, a Mechanic, a Many-Faces, a Cobra Kai, and a Dragon Walker. Just that they get a feel for the toys. I'm working! I'm working! All of the toys were in great condition, but I could already tell that the legs were starting to get loose, and I could almost over time hear those rubber legs just starting to crack and just get looser and looser every day. After a few weeks of really hard play with the kids and a couple bath times, then the inevitable happened. The legs on Spikor finally broke. The rubber can be really hard to replace, so I jumped on YouTube and watched a bunch of videos on how to replace and repair them. I found a couple how-to videos on YouTube that showed how to repair them using eye hooks and washers, but I didn't really like that method. Even though it worked and looked fine, I really wanted something that was closer to the original part. So I took a look on eBay and found that you could buy 10 of these for $20, which amounts to only $2 a piece. But seems as I only needed one, that actually would work out to $20 for one of these for a repair. And I didn't want to spend that money. So I thought I would just spend 20 hours of my own time trying to make my own. What a great deal. So being into 3D printing, the first thing I did was I jumped online and searched for a 3D CAD model of the piece. And luckily I found one. I thought I would just print one out of TPU and be done. Wrong. It wasn't really flexible enough TPU, and seems as I always like to use what I've got in the office, I wasn't going to order another roll of TPU just to print another 5-cent part. So I decided to try use the things that I have in my office already to make the piece that I needed. Maybe at some point in the future, I'll try print another one out of a softer TPU. So I took this design and turned it into a mold. Now I had a negative of the original part, and I was able to mold it. I sprayed the mold with mold release. Then I took some 100% silicone Gorilla Glue and filled the mold. I tried to get all of the bubbles out. Then I put them in a clamp and waited 24 hours. This looked promising, and I thought I was done. Wrong.
In theory, that would be perfect if I can get that nice and tight there. And it just broke off. No good. Bloody hell.
I removed the rubber using my pick tool. This worked really well to get up in there, as well as being one of my favorite tools for removing 3D print supports. This time I sprayed on the mold release and used Mold Star silicone. This is a 2-part silicone mix. Then I did some cleanup. Version 1 was way too long and left the legs being floppy. So I made a slightly shorter version and this one worked fine. Now I have an easy solution. Anytime one of my Masters of the Universe characters' legs break, I can just remold another little piece and repair it easily myself.